Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss MaxDiff Analysis, also known as maximum difference scaling. MaxDiff is one of the most useful methodologies in consumer insights because it helps organizations understand what customers truly value when they are forced to make trade-offs. To make this practical, we're going to use a hypothetical fast casual restaurant example throughout the presentation. By the end of this video, you'll understand what MaxDiff is, why it's used, how it works, and how to interpret the results. Imagine a fast casual restaurant chain is looking to improve a customer satisfaction and increase traffic. Management has identified several potential improvements. They could invest in faster service, lower prices, healthier menu options, mobile ordering, loyalty rewards, larger portions, sustainable ingredients, or extended hours. The challenge is that resources are limited. The company cannot invest heavily in every initiative at the same time. The business question becomes, which improvements matter most to customers? This is exactly the type of question MaxDiff is designed to answer. A common way to approach this question is through a traditional survey. Researchers might ask respondents to ask the importance of each attribute on a scale from 1 to 5. Looking at the results, faster service scores of 4.8, lower prices of 4.7, healthy options of 4.6, and so on. At first glance, this seems helpful, but there's a problem. Notice how all of the ratings are clustered together. Everything appears important. This happens frequently in survey research. Consumers generally like many of these features and are reluctant to rate things as unimportant. As a result, traditional ratings often provide very little differentiation. If every feature receives a high score, management still doesn't know where to invest. If everything is important, nothing is important. This is where MaxDiff becomes valuable. Rather than asking respondents to evaluate each item independently, MaxDiff forces them to make trade-offs. In a MaxDiff question, respondents are shown a small set of attributes. They are asked to identify which attribute is most important and which attribute is least important. For example, imagine a respondent sees faster service, healthy options, loyalty rewards, and mobile ordering. Instead of rating each item, they must choose the most important and the least important option. This simple change creates much more meaningful data. Let's look at an example. Suppose a respondent selects faster service as the most important option and loyalty rewards as the least important option. This tells us much more than a rating scale would. We now know that faster service is preferred over healthy options, mobile ordering, and loyalty rewards. We also know that loyalty rewards ranks below all three of the other attributes shown in this question. Every MaxDiff task generates multiple pieces of preference information, and respondents complete several of these tasks throughout the survey. After respondents complete the survey, we have a large number of most important and least important selections. The next step is converting those choices into meaningful scores. To do this, statistical models analyze all of the trade-offs respondents made throughout the survey. Rather than simply counting how often an attribute was selected, the model looks at the entire pattern of choices. For example, if faster service is consistently chosen as the most important option and rarely selected as the least important option, the model will determine that it has a high level of importance. On the other hand, if loyalty rewards are frequently selected as the least important option, the model will assign them a lower level of importance. The end result is a set of scores that represent the relative importance of each attribute, allowing us to compare them and create a clear ranking of customer priorities. Here we can see an example set of MaxDiff results. Faster service receives the highest score, followed by lower prices and healthy options. At the bottom of the ranking, we find sustainable ingredients and loyalty rewards. This provides management with a much clearer picture of customer priorities than the rating scale results we saw earlier. Rather than seeing everything clustered together, we now have a meaningful hierarchy of importance. One of the most important things to understand about MaxDiff is how to interpret the scores. A common mistake is to treat the numbers as absolute measurements. For example, we should not conclude that faster service is worth exactly 24%. Instead, we should focus on the relative differences between attributes. The key insight is that faster service appears substantially more important than loyalty rewards. Similarly, lower prices appears more important than extended hours. MaxDiff is fundamentally a prioritization tool. Its purpose is to help us understand what matters most relative to other options. MaxDiff is particularly useful when an organization needs to prioritize a large number of items. Common applications include product features, menu items, advertising messages, customer benefits, brand attributes, and innovation concepts. Whenever the primary research objective is understanding relative importance and creating a clear ranking, MaxDiff is often an excellent choice. Because respondents are forced to make trade-offs, the methodology typically produces stronger differentiation than traditional rating scales. Let's conclude with 5 key takeaways. First, traditional rating scales often make everything appear important. Second, MaxDiff forces respondents to make trade-offs between alternatives. Third, those trade-offs reveal priorities that might otherwise remain hidden. Fourth, the results create a clear ranking of what customers value most. And fifth, those rankings help organizations make better decisions about where to invest their resources. MaxDiff is not the right methodology for every business problem, but when the goal is prioritization, it is one of the most powerful tools available to consumer insights professionals. Thank you for watching.